Well, I'm back. You probably didn't miss me, but I was away last week, and I'm very happy to be back, refreshed slightly and a little tanned from some time in Paris. I didn't go anywhere fantastic, but the sun was out pretty much all week, so we managed to get a little bit of colour in the cheeks before we head into those dark winter months. Welcome. This is the Pro Synth Network live show. It's episode 279. The date is Friday, the 8th of August. It is, of course, 808 day. I should have had a jingle ready with a little beat or something, but you can imagine something in your head. 808 day today, and as ever, Roland have splurged us with a bunch of things, none of which are really relevant. There's a new pair of trainers designed in an 808 style and other bits and bobs, but nothing that fancy, so we shan't be covering any more than what we've just done. So happy 808 day. It is, of course, one of the greatest drum machines of all time. And maybe we should celebrate something so epic. Anyway, there we go, 8th of August 2025. I hope you are all well and that you're enjoying your summer. I don't know where you are in the world. We've got lots of people coming in from all around. I hope you're having a wonderful summer and enjoying it with your friends, family and loved ones. We've got some great guests for you today. I met these guys back in May at Super Booth. We had a nice little chat. I had a play on their flagship instrument, and it's a doozy. And I said, we've got to get you on the show. They said, absolutely. They've been busy doing stuff. We've finally got them here, and we're going to make the most over the next couple of hours. So if you have any questions for our guests, do make sure you stick them in the chat, and we'll show you how to do that ever so shortly. But before we get to everything, let me just remind you that if you can give us a big thumbs up during the show, that would be great. If you're watching live, give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on catch up, and as I know some of you do, still, let us know if you like the show, or give us a thumbs down. You might not like it, and we need to know this stuff, okay? Otherwise, how can we change? So do give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the show. If you want to comment throughout the show, then all depending on the platform you're watching on, you can do that through YouTube chat. You can do that in Facebook underneath the stream. You can also do that on TikTok, where we're also broadcasting, although I think we probably have just one person a week that watches on TikTok, so I might shut that down. I don't know. We'll see. Tell me if you want to keep that going, and I will. And of course, if you know somebody who's really into synths and music technology and has nothing to do much on a Friday night, then, or Friday afternoon, or maybe Saturday morning, depending on what part of the world you're in, just share the link with them. Tell them to come and watch and join in. This is a community show. We're all part of the community. You're all part of the community. We do this for you. We don't charge you anything, and we hope you enjoy it. What we do say, though, is that if you want to support the channel, because it isn't free to do all of this stuff, if you can support us in some way or another, then that's fantastic, but it's not obligatory. So one of the best ways to support us is with Patreon. And if you join our Patreon channel, you can get access to free content, such as patches for your synthesizers, video content. We've got sample libraries for Decent Sampler. I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I know I haven't done it yet, but we've got a set of impulse responses that we're going to stick up there very, very shortly. So you get all of that included for a minimum of $2 a month. That's all you need to do. And you don't have to commit to any long-term stuff. You can stop and start as often as you like. But every penny really does help us keep doing the show for you. So if you want to do that, that's fantastic. The other way that you can support us is through YouTube channel membership. So if you want to join the YouTube channel, you get all the same freebies, all the same bonus content through the YouTube channel membership. So we make that all available to you as well. So you can do it that way. It all depends on whatever you feel is most convenient. I know there are some people out there that do both. They're crazy people. Another way you can support us is buy merchandise. We do stuff like the t-shirts that you see here.
Yay!
That I hopefully haven't spilt any of my dinner down. You've got t-shirts, you've got sweatshirts, you've got jackets, you've got hats, you've got swimsuits, bathing costumes, towels, handkerchiefs, all sorts of wonderful things. You can buy all of that merchandise over at that link right there. The link is also down below in the video description. And we are able to take a tiny slice off the top of that, and that goes into the funds as well. And of course, you get to wear cool clothing out and about. And it's always great when we go to shows. We see people wandering around with Pro Synth Network hats and T-shirts and all sort of stuff on. So it's great. Thank you. If you've bought something from us, thank you. And you can do that as well. You can follow us on all the social media channels. We're across the whole lot. YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. All at Pro Synth Network. So if you want to follow us there, Facebook is probably the most used one. But yeah, we're all over those things. So if you want to join the community, Facebook is where most of us hang out during the week, and we talk and exchange ideas and comments and photos and all sorts of lovely things. So you can come and do that there. And if you want to ask a question of one of our guests, or even of myself, Andy and Kent, you can do so in the chat. But can you make sure you stick a big capital Q at the front of it? Because that helps us pick it out and move it over to the question bucket, and we'll bring those questions in as and when it is appropriate. Right, I think I've killed almost 10 minutes of the first part of the show, so I'm going to stop talking there, and I'm going to bring in someone who actually turned up on time, Mr. Spong.
Hello.
Hello. Did you have a little nap?
I did not.
That's
because I had a little Siri sitting on my head.
So,
yes. Hello.
Aren't you warm in that hoodie?
Yes. Next question.
Okay.
I must admit though, just to clear up a little something
Go
on behalf of Roland, when I'm restoring a TR-808, I'm often thinking of footwear. Okay.
It's the first thing that jumps to most people's mind.
Okay. I must get some new shoes.
I see you've got your key step there in the background there. Have you finally contacted Arturia?
I have finally contacted Arturia.
Have you heard from them?
Have not heard back from them.
Not heard from them.
But seeing as I bought it in November and got round to sending them the photograph of the serial label, was it day before yesterday?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if they take their time. It's only fair.
No, it's
somehow.
only fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure. As I said, a lot of people in France at the moment are on their hollybobs because it's that time of year and most of the country kind of goes away. So it's like back home in Italy. There's a 3-week period that everybody goes.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
You're probably in the middle of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, good to see you. As always, welcome. Thank you. And of course, the other my other cohort is of course Andrew Longhurst. Here he is.
Cohort.
Thank you first of all. Thank you for running the show last week. Did a splendid job. I was watching from my little apartment in Paris.
Yeah, it was good having you jump in and keep us all in line.
keep you on your toes.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was a good show. It was good fun. But it's always so much more reassuring when you're at the helm, as it were.
Yeah. Busy week?
I have. It's been... I lost a day somewhere this week, and I just kept on thinking it was a day later than it was. I managed... You remember I mentioned I'm working on a sound bank. When I finished that, and I'm now doing another one, but for the release of whatever the sound bank was for, so that we have something for
release day.
At that time for the Patreon network, Patreon thing. So that was good. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I used to work for Emu Systems. I don't know.
Did you?
Yeah, no one knows. I've kept it so secret.
Wow. No idea.
No one knows that.
Oh, kept that light under a bushel.
Anyway, good to have you as always. Thank you very much indeed. So it's now time for us to go over to our esteemed guests. These guys and their team of colleagues have been responsible for one of the most innovative hardware synthesizers that has come out in recent years. I remember when we first covered this, when this first came out, and we all loved the design, the hexagonal buttons and the hexagonal screen, and it just looked super cool. And then we heard it, and it was like, whoa. This is cool. The Redshift 6 is an analog synthesizer. I'll let the guys talk about it in more detail, but it's an analog synthesizer with a heck of a lot going on underneath. 96 oscillators, 16 voice polyphony, and now 4-part multitimbrality, which means that you can build almost entire tracks with this thing. And there's some great demos out there on YouTube if you want to listen to that. So we were super keen to talk to people from Supercritical, and we bumped into them at Super Booth this year back in May, and we had a nice little chat, and myself and Peter had a nice little play with the synth, and it is stunningly good. And so we got in touch and we said, come on to the show, and we've got them. They're here. Let's bring in Jussi and Timo from Supercritical. Round of applause, everyone.
Yay!
Hi guys. Timo, I'll come to you first. You're one of the founders of the company. Just tell us a little bit about what you do and what Supercritical do.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, first of all, I could say that Supercritical is kind of like one of my hobbies gone completely, out of control. And it's a company. There's 5 of us here, and and so basically I do most of the circuit board design for the synthesizer side and hardware design, and most of the voice side code, and a lot of the technical ideas are mine. Although I have to say that how it has shaped out to be a synthesizer is also in very large part due to everybody in the team. Everybody's contributed to the concept and so on. So it's not my synthesizer alone by any means. It's much better than it would be. But kind of like the starting points and the technical ideas, or and that kind of stuff are basically from me to start with.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is in a little while we'll ask you how this all came about. What where did the idea come from and how it all blew up. Before we do that, let's move over to Jussi, who's the gentleman I've been speaking with via email. So thank you for arranging all of this. It's great. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is.
Yeah, I'm the other programmer at Supercritical. So we actually have only 2 programmers. I was hired in the beginning of 23 to help with coding, but then I ended up doing a lot of other stuff as well. I think besides coding, I'm mainly responsible for the the usability design, so how the synth works and how the knobs are responding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not the graphics, but how it works.
Yeah, I mean that'll be interesting, because I will come back to you on that point of the usability and the design of because it is, when you look at it, it's very pretty, but also when I used it, it is incredibly easy to understand exactly what's going on, where it's going. So that's a really good point. So let's start off. Let's start at the beginning. You guys have been doing modular stuff, is that right? Before Redshift 6? Yeah. So what gave you the idea? What was that little seed that said, you know what, let's take everything we know and maybe put it into a desktop polyphonic synthesizer?
Right. So I actually kind of think that in some sense it's the opposite, that I'm not such a huge modular guy myself. It was more like I had these technical ideas, and then at one point I was in a situation where my previous job was probably not going to continue, and the 2 other founders, Heikki and Sami, who are not here now, we kind of started talking that could we maybe perhaps for a while make a business out of one of those ideas. And for that, and with no experience in electronics and electronics manufacturing and stuff, we didn't want to start out doing a whole synth. But the modular side, it's interesting, and it seemed like a great way to try out some of the ideas. So then we tried out the dim core oscillator first, like the generalized digitally controlled oscillator theme. I'm sure we'll get more into that. So we put that in the module and learned a lot of stuff and got the module out, and then kind of continued from that, did the filter. But in some sense, actually, I had a prototype of a single voice card for what would be a compact synthesizer, like a self-contained synthesizer, as a hobby before that. So that's actually the starting point, and piece of that became the modules. And then at some point, basically during the part shortage, we were kind of at a situation where honestly, it was kind of like for now, we're not going to be able to continue with just 2 modules. Do we try to rush, a huge number of them and hope that the components come, or do we do something else and able to, secure some funding and, as this business stuff goes, to kind of get into what was the original dream, to do a self-contained synthesizer that combines a lot of interesting stuff and, make an analog synthesizer, that which has been anyway like kind of, I wouldn't say it would have been my dream because I wouldn't have dared to dream of that hobby going that far before, but kind of the original inspiration. Like my start into electronics was like I wanted to understand why my OBXA sounds so good. So
yeah, absolutely. But you've gone in with Redshift 6. I mean, we said earlier it's 96 oscillators.
Right.
16 voices. Now it's got 4-part multitimbrality. There's so much going on in it. I mean, it's not like you kind of tiptoed in there. You jumped right in.
Right. Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision to say, look, go big or go home? Was that a real sort of driving decision there?
Well, somewhat and some not. Let me correct you. It's 6 voices of polyphonic, 16 oscillators per voice. Yeah. And 6 parts multitimbral, actually.
Okay, sorry,
no problem. No problem. So I think it kind of started out with just the idea that, okay, if we throw one of the oscillator sections in the Demon Core oscillator module into each voice in a synth, and then if we throw the neutron flux filter, or actually half of it, because neutron flux is stereo, so it's 2 times 4 pole, the Redshift has 4 pole. If we just throw that per voice, that's already quite a lot of something. So, and hardware-wise, that's more or less what it is. Originally, it was supposed to be 4 voice, but then when Janne, one of our other guys, joined in, he was basically like, "Are you sure we couldn't do a 6 voice, because that would be so much better for playing chords?" And so we pushed the technology a little bit. But from that point, I mean, that is basically the hardware per voice. And all of the rest about going big is basically just realizing that, or maybe stepping into the trap that that now that we have all this hardware, can we do this? And then just, well, it's just a question of software. We can always write software, Yeah. So once you have 6 voices, do you want to, and all of them have independent CVs anyway. So the matter of whether it's monotimbral or a duotimbral is basically just a matter of software, and as soon as you go duotimbral, there's basically no reason to not go full 6 parts if you can come up with the right interface, and that was of course a large part. And the number of oscillators is depending on how technical people want to get. It's that's part of the innovation there, that the circuit actually does not scale with the number of oscillators. It's actually a single circuit that kind of allows turning 16 digital clocking signals, similar to like a Juno DCO, which has digital clocking signals generating analog signals. So we have a single circuit that can process several of them without having to increase the component count. So that was also kind of like, once we go from 1 to 2, we can go to 16 just as well. Again, it's just a matter of software, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jussi, I'm going to come to you now. This is a super complex synthesizer. When it comes to designing an interface, a user interface for something that is so deep and complex, what are the obstacles that you come across? How do you get around that? How do you come up with the concept, say, that you have done for Redshift 6?
Good question. Well, first of all, it was obviously a team effort. Like, no one can do this alone.
Sure.
But basically, the idea, like a very classic idea in user interface design, is that you should start with what you want to help people do. So you start with thinking about what the various things that you want to be able to, for people to do on the synth, and then you start collecting ideas on what kinds of interfaces would allow people to do all of these things, and then prioritizing, and it's a long process. Like I drew like dozens of different sketches for the interface before we landed on what we have now. And we have been iterating over the updates, and we will be iterating more. And
Sure. I mean,
it's never
let's
finished.
let's just take a quick look. I mean, it's off the bat. I mean, just looking at this box, forgetting what it does, it looks very pretty. It really does have a lovely aesthetic to it, and I like the way that, you know, obviously the synth is called Redshift 6, and therefore 6-sided, you know, buttons and the screen and everything. It's all very an interesting design. I love the way that right in the middle there, you've got the voices and the mute button, so you can just, you know, turn things off very nice and easily. Everything's just so clearly laid out. Was there a conscious decision to put as many, because you could have gone big screen, lots of menus and stuff, but was there a big decision to make it very tactile with lots of buttons, lots of controls, and just keep that screen, because you've got the, you know, the 8 soft controls, 4 above and 4 below, that will map to whatever's on the screen at the time. What was the thinking behind the balance between using the screen and using the buttons just for direct access?
That actually existed before I joined, so maybe Timo can talk about that.
Yeah. You still had a big role in actually bringing the idea to something that exists and is usable, but kind of the idea, the course idea was there before. So basically, the argument was largely that we were gonna pack it with features, and and we're going to be adding features to it. Like right now, I mean, basically we haven't done much of the things that we have. There are a lot of stuff we haven't even discussed publicly that we know we can do with this hardware.
Wow.
So we kind of, the basic big choice was basically not per function or then something else, to put it that way. And not per function is obviously nice and quick to use, but the problem is the first time you make an software update, so you bring a new feature, you've blown the interface, because now there's something that's behind a menu or a shift button or something. And you can actually see that in a lot of the kind of synths that look per function, the analog synths, and almost none of them really are. They actually have layers behind the knobs, they have menus, they have stuff you can only access by menu. And so we kind of didn't want to step into that trap. And then I could say that the big inspirations were like the Ensoniq, I keep forgetting the name of some of their late 80s synths, which have basically this similar idea. They don't have a big screen, they have screen but not a big screen, but there's a matrix where you choose your page and then you have fixed number of controls. And for example, that generalizes much better to, you know, bringing in new features later, because you just have new pages. And you can certainly find some ways to access those, and you can change the functions of the buttons without having to, have something do something different to its label, because it's not, you know, it changes anyway per page. You show them on a screen or something, and so that was kind of the starting point, that we knew we were going to want to reiterate on what the synth does, improve it all the time with new features, and that basically made it clear that we can't do not per function. We want to do menu diving, so then what that leads to, we have a button per class of functions, if you will.
So I have a question for both of you. With all of this, what we've not heard is your previous kind of experience, your previous involvement with synths, because it's kind of, there's all sorts of things you can build electronically. You tend towards synths if you already have some experience of them. So I'd just be really interested, because that's clearly fed into the design of this, because you've been thinking about usability. So for both of you, what's your kind of where did you come from with synths? What were you doing with synths that got you onto this path of creating, first of all, the Daemon cores, and then this, you know, the Redshift 6? What's your history? Timo first, perhaps.
Right. Okay. Sure. I've been interested in electronic music since I was a kid. I started making music back when I was in my teens with, you know, trackers. I had Scream Tracker, if anyone remembers that. and at that time I kind of wanted a synth, but I couldn't afford one. I wrote some stuff before soft synths were a thing. I wrote the synth that made samples for trackers and so on. And then I played in a synth pop band. I still play in a hard rock band, the melodic hard rock, like it is inspired. And and at some point I was able to afford synths. I kind of played them, and for quite a while I was of the opinion that digital synths should be good enough. And at some point I kind of gave in and bought a JX10, and then I realized that well these things just sound better. And at some time later I bought an OBXA just before they got ridiculously expensive. And I have at the time I was doing a PhD in theoretical physics, so I had a lot of maths background, and I kind of started getting as to like what's the difference? Why would there be a difference between a good digital algorithm and a bunch of transistors? And that kind of, I'm not sure if I still know all of the answers. I know some of the answers now, but that kind of led to starting to breadboard things. I didn't have any electronics experience at the time, but that just kind of escalated. I learned more, and I did have some experience with like embedded programming and stuff. So that led to the back when supersaw trans was still a thing. I kind of that led me to thinking like, why couldn't we do an analog supersaw? And well, the Demon Core oscillator is an answer to that you can do. If you do DCOs, you actually need to have 16 of them. But if you do DCOs, there's a trick to do it with just one DCO core. Mm-hmm. And kind of the filter is also an answer to a similar question. Like, why do we have to make them fixed response filters, or just have some simple controls? Why can't we make the same filter core do all the responses, basically?
Yeah. What about you, Jussi?
Yeah, for me, synths are actually quite a recent hobby. Like, I started playing guitar in like 2013, and then I gradually got more interested in the guitar pedals than guitars themselves, and through them I basically got interested in synths. Right. I think I don't even remember when I bought my first synth, but I think it was less than 10 years ago, so it's quite recent for me. Mm-hmm. But my professional background is actually in games. I was in the game industry for 10 years doing game interfaces, and I think that shows at least partly. Like I'm quite detail-oriented, because in games the UI basically has to sell the game.
Yeah.
Like how good it looks and feels.
Yeah.
And then, actually in the university I was also studying usability, and so my background is basically the synth hobby and the game background.
Sure. What's Timo said that he got an OBXA. Favorite synth. What about you? Do you have a particular favorite synth that you've kind of grown fond of?
Well, I don't have it anymore, but my first synth was actually the Electron Analog 4, which probably, if you have the Redshift 6, you can see the influence there.
Yeah.
But my current favorite is the Novation Summit. Like, that's the one I play.
Yeah.
Like, that's my first choice if I have to play something. Yeah.
Yeah, good synth. That very good. One of Chris Huggett's last hurrahs.
Exactly.
Yeah, really good stuff. So, Kent, have you got anything you want to throw in at the moment, or?
No, I'm
you're
quietly listening here. I mean, they're making me feel old.
Well, newsflash.
Yeah, I mean, my first synthesizer was delivered by Dinosaur. You know what I mean? It's like,
it was
I'm trying to work out what else you could have done. It seems like your paths, particularly you, Timo, it seems like everything's just brought you to this point, and it seems almost inevitable you'd end up designing this synth. And I imagine you must still wake up sometimes and go, We've got a 6-voice synth with 96 oscillators. Raw!
I'm slowly getting used to it.
Yeah, it's a beast. It really is.
Actually, you
like
get
the
used to
anaglyph
it quite
spec, innit?
quickly.
Yeah. Before we do anything else, I just want to shout out to some people who've thrown in some donations during the show. Peter DeLong, extra coin from all the gigs I've been playing this summer. Well done. And do let us know where you're playing. We'll share that around. But thank you very much indeed. $20 there from Peter. Some guy called Andrew Longhurst just thrown in £2.79 because it's our 279th show. And you might have seen it earlier, but our friend Robert has he said, I love this synth and I love you all too. Here's a tenner. So thank you very much indeed to you three people there. If you want to make a donation during the show, you can do that through Super Chat or Super Stickers in YouTube. Let me just bring those out of the way so we don't do those again. So I want to talk about the look of this thing. Because it really is very unique. It stands out completely. There's nothing else that looks quite like it. So it's kind of a two-pronged question. First of all, why does it look like it does? And second of all, why not a keyboard synthesizer? Why a desktop? I don't know who wants to take those. Or
Well, first of all, there's the obvious answer to, not the full answer, not also, but one big component is that the case design is by Axel Hartmann. So
okay,
yeah, so yeah, exactly. So yeah, we decided that somewhere we had to go the tried and tested route, and having Axel design the cases, case and the UI, like basic layout stuff. Is something where you probably can't go wrong, and I think we didn't. So that's at least one of the things. And why not a keyboard synth? I suppose that's also because we did a huge step from doing a couple of modules to doing this desktop synth. We've learned a lot, and luckily we've gotten the production running, and the synths are reliable and everything. But we didn't want to try to learn everything. Like, a keyboard is, especially mechanically, one more step to learn to make sure you can get it manufactured reliably and integrated into everything and so on. So maybe the next one will be a keyboard synth. But it's just, we can build a rocket right away, but we can't build one that goes to the moon right away.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You see, I mean, obviously we've just learnt that Axel did the design on this. Did you work with him at all on this, or did you feed him information, or how did that process work? Because Axel's been on the show. He's a good friend of ours. He's such a good designer. We love his work. How did that relationship go?
Well, how did we meet him? Yeah, we actually met our current case manufacturer, a German company, at Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then they recommended that we contact Axel. We actually asked for offers from a couple of different people, but Axel was the only one who could combine the design and the mechanical design and everything as one package. Yeah, and with quite a reasonable price. So yeah, going with the tried and tested designer with the full package was the reason we chose him. And then we sent him some of the sketches for the prototypes, and then there was some back and forth, and then he sent us 3 versions, like very different versions of the synth, or directions where we could go. And then we chose the most bold one, which you see here, and then iterated a bit more on it. And there was several rounds of iteration on the final design, and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not at all surprised when you said that Axel was behind this. I had no idea, but then it just kind of makes sense because Axel's work is it's just he's the Hans Zimmer, I think, of synthesizer design. He's over everything. His name pops up all the time. Yeah, his hands are behind you. Look, we've been talking about this synth. I think we should definitely hear a little bit about it. So we've got some of the videos that we've pulled from the Supercritical website. I'm just going to play. Let me see. Yeah, I like this one. So you've done some videos where you've gone from reset to preset. So you basically started, with an initialized patch, and then you've come up with something. I want to do that because I'm a big pad guy. So I found the gliding stereo reso pad. So let's just have a listen to what this synthesizer sounds like. I love that. I mean, I'm a big pad guy. Am I right in thinking that wasn't time shifted at all? There was no. That was just like 2 minutes of getting from an init patch to that sound. It certainly looked that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think two things that I took from that video. One, it sounds great. Two, is that workflow is just so intuitive. And as soon as you hit a knob or a button, the screen comes up, everything's there. It's a great design. I mean, hats off to you. You've really nailed
I loved how
something.
informative the screen was.
Yeah.
How much
Exactly.
information was being handed to you in real time.
Yeah.
And it's so much better to work with the shape of a waveform as you're turning the dial, as opposed to two numbers flickering.
Yeah.
As well.
Exactly. Yeah. That whole visualization is very cool. Was that a conscious decision to make everything really visual?
Yeah. And I have to name drop our other visual designer, Paper Noise, who you probably know from Mutable Instruments, at least.
Yeah.
So we work with him on the screen graphics.
Yeah.
He's a super talented guy as well.
Yeah, it's the one thing I really struck me when I first got my hands on it, because as I said, I saw you guys there at Super Booth 24, couldn't get close to you. So I was really happy that you had a little booth to yourself this time round this year, and I could actually get in there and sit and play with it. And Peter and I were sort of like hovering over it, and it was just so, every time you push something, there was the screen, loads of information, everything visualized, and it just makes things so much more intuitive and rewarding, I think. I mean, there are loads of demos on the website. For example, there's a whole bunch of audio demos. I need to play this one because you'll all kind of recognize the inspiration behind Cinematic Swarm, but I just think this really kind of shows off that that fullness of the sound architecture. Oops, I think it started. I think I might have played that before. Let me start that again. Here we go. The audience is listening. Quite obvious, the inspiration there. 96 saws on the wall. Again, this might start halfway through because I was playing these through. So let's see if I can embarrass myself again. I mean, it just sounds huge. I mean, it really does. It's such a wonderful sounding synthesizer. Do you realise quite what you've done here? It is such a powerful synthesizer.
So just so you know, you might see me turning my head away a lot at the moment. I'm just looking at it. I can't actually take my eyes off of it. I think it's such a gorgeous design.
It's a pretty thing, yeah.
It's a pretty thing, and it looks really, really good. And I was going to ask you, I suppose my one question for this is 16 oscillators per voice. How does that actually roll out in terms of sound design? Do you have 16 playing at the same time? Can you control each of those, or do you have two DCOs, or how do the 16 work?
In a technical sense, like what we can do under the hood is that basically each of them is a sawtooth or a pulse wave, to simplify things a little. From the control point of view, like we saw in the video, for an example, we've laid it out as a kind of a 2 oscillator synth, but then you have this stack option, which you can use to like stack more of them. So that so that's one way you can use them. So basically, it's just source and pulses, or super source and super pulses, if you will. Then also one of the other uses for it is you can use a voice paraphonically. So you can use just one out of the 6 voices to play up to 5 voice chords currently. If you're using 5 notes, then you can have 2 oscillators per voice, basically because each of the notes also has their own oscillator. So that eats away one oscillator. And yeah, so that's what you can do right now. As you can maybe imagine, like when you have 16 pulses, you can also, and you have control over them, you can also stack them in more interesting ways, like for an example, build staircase-like waveforms, maybe modulate them. So some of those will be coming in future firmware updates, but like what it can do right now, it's basically stacking and detuning a lot of saws and pulses, and you have 2 choices, like 2 parts, so it's like 2 oscillators. You can choose one waveform and another waveform, and stack those, or the paraphony.
And when you're stacking them, is there a plan to be able to tune each of the 16 oscillators over a wide range of plus or minus an octave, with semitones or something in between, or is that just a general detune for, are these just clones, like a unison of one of the oscillators?
The latter, in the current engine. One of the upcoming engines will be something we're calling a partials engine, where you can do, like, for an example, kind of we don't have enough controls to do a drawbar like thing, but kind of the same idea, like what you were describing, that you can place them as per octaves or semitones or partials, like multiples and so on, and that should allow you to make stuff that's not really quite so fat, but then it will be more complex and more bright, and obviously modulate that and so on. So there's a lot of that's actually a very good question. The point that a lot of the stuff that's still coming up is exploring what we can do. We don't know ourselves to all the things we can do with it yet.
Yeah,
Great place to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the Eurorack world, like there's a module called the Ensemble Oscillator, which has like 200 oscillators, and then you can like spread them and quantize the pitch of each of those. So that's maybe the closest thing out of like currently existing products of what we are aiming for with that engine.
Yeah. just want to just have a quick chat about what's going on around the back. So very simple, uncluttered rear interface here. So you've got power, USB to host, and then you've got traditional MIDI, and then you've got 3 pairs of outputs with a headphone socket. Now, I'm assuming that now we've got 6-part multitimbrality, we can route each voice or each part, to an individual output and then stick that through into a mixer. So you don't have to use them as stereo pairs. It can be 6 monos as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you can pan the voices. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's really cool. That is. I mean, it's a beautifully simple design. I mean, just looking at that sort of graphic there, it is honestly. I've played with this only for a brief amount of time. I can attest to the fact that I was in there just messing around really very, very quickly. It's a great design. So
what this is reminding me of, don't you?
Go on.
Anaglyph.
Okay.
Your own anaglyph.
96 VCO.
Yeah?
Yeah. And except this is what happens if it was done intelligently. No, seriously. No,
just so that Timo and UC know what we're talking about, Anaglyph is a concept, a synthesizer concept that Kent's been working on for his entire life. Almost. But it's something that he's been sort of tinkering with. He's breadboarded it. He's had bits made up here and bits made up there, but it's never quite made it to fruition. And it's
about the size of a small family car, isn't it?
It is quite a large concept.
Yeah.
Every time somebody comes out with a new synth, Kent say that. I had that idea.
Yeah.
I had that idea.
Has it got 64 LFOs?
I don't know how many LFOs has it got.
How many LFOs does it have?
What's 6 times 4? 24.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Only 4 per voice. Yeah.
You've
So
got this
4 per voice.
Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it? Because mine's 16 voice, 6 VCOs per voice.
right.
2, what was it? Two
It's not
CS
competition.
VCOs, 2 Curtis, and 2 digital.
Right. I just want to.
I still prefer this though.
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause you don't have to design and make
This
it.
you can pick up and walk out the room with.
I think what's fascinating about this as a sound, I've done product design and I've done a lot of sound design along the way, and you sometimes see an interface and you see that you just sort of get the concept immediately.
Yeah.
And with a couple of conversations like we've just been chatting already, I can see where this could go, and it's stupidly exciting. You kind of look at it and just go, I get this. I get how powerful and how wonderful this is going to be. So I'm just really excited. I'm going to get one. I'm going to get one. I know. Damn you!
I want to ask
Sorry.
about. I want to ask about the list here. So this is the tech spec, but everything that's marked with an asterisk is coming soon in an update. So, what are your plans for this, for the arpeggiator and the sequencer? I mean, you've got 6-part multitimbrality,
MPE compatibility.
MPE. Yeah,
I've got to get one now.
That's coming on Monday.
Oh, why did you tell me? I thought I was going to have money in the bank this month.
What are the plans for, or can you tell us what the plans are for the arpeggiator and the sequencer? What have you got in mind?
Yeah.
If you can't say, that's fine.
Well, we can, or we are quite open, but we don't have like finalized plans yet.
Okay.
So, but maybe you saw the engine button, which is going to be used for the DCO and filter engines.
Okay.
So we'll have different kinds of DCOs and stuff. So that can be used for all buttons. So we can have different kinds of arpeggiator engines and sequencer engines and stuff like that. So we are going to start with a very basic classic arpeggiator, but then we can maybe work on something more crazy in the future.
Yeah. So
polyphonic, perhaps a polyphonic arpeggiator as well at some point, or sequencer.
Yeah. As sequencer, at least, like the idea we have is that, like in addition to sequencing notes, it's going to be also kind of like a super modulation source, and therefore you can certainly, like, for an example, if you're playing polyphonically, you have a sequencer per note, so you can kind of get the point.
Yeah.
So let's come to MPE compatibility, because we do have a few diehard, hardcore MPE adopters in the audience. You say this is coming next week?
Yeah, beta,
Yeah, in
to be
beta.
honest. So
beta.
so we have it working like as of this week on our own dev systems. We're probably ready to get it out to public beta next week, unless some huge new bug surfaces on Monday morning, which is the time when they do.
Yeah.
So basically, MP. So you at least have the usual 3, pitch bend, and aftertouch, and CC74 like timbre per note, and we're going to be adding, hopefully already to this update. We're not sure about that yet. CCs as a modulation source. So those are also the ideas for those to also work as MPE sources, so per note. So that allows you to use sequencers where you can have several lanes of CCs modulating each node and so on. So yeah, something like that.
Nice.
I think none of us are like huge MPE guys. So in terms of that, we're also very open to feedback, and we'll see what our users tell us, like if there's something that's sorely missing or something, and our users have been great, like in our Discord and so on. So they've been already helping us find the right direction to go and so on. And we're certainly happy to listen to all of that.
We have our very own kind of MPE expert in our audience. He's a guy called Steve Elbows, and he's really deeply into this thing. He mentions here, and this is a point very worth mentioning, you have an online public roadmap on your forums. Is that correct?
On our website there's a link.
Yeah. So it's a great way of kind of keeping up to date with what you guys are playing around with, and how it all comes together, hopefully. Just want to quickly say thank you very much to Matt Evans, who is getting married on Sunday. Long time viewer. So congratulations to Matt and Hayley, who are finally tying the knot this coming Sunday. So congratulations to you both. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope the weather holds out for you down there. So congratulations, and thank you very much for your appropriate donation right there. We do have some questions also from our audience. We're going to take a few of these, and then we'll do our synthspirations. We have a synthspirations for you this week.
Wow.
So Jihar wants to know, will you collaborate on the effects with someone, or will it all be an in-house thing?
The delay is delays are quite simple, so we are going to do those ourselves, and the chorus will be in-house as well. But on the reverb, we work with someone called Signalsmith. He's a audio tech consultant. He's been studying reverbs a lot, so he was able to design us a reverb that sounds really good for the small amount of memory that we have available. So
sure,
that's kind of ready already, but it hasn't been integrated yet.
Okay, cool.
And also for the course, it's in-house, but we have a guy who was actually involved in the project in the beginning stages, but he had to leave for personal reasons. But he's an expert in modeling analog stuff, so he's actually going to help us with the course. So I'm quite confident we can also make that nice. Very nice.
Look forward to that. That would be great. We have a question here from AD Vision. Can it transpose? Can you transpose in here?
There's a master pitch control, if that's what you mean, per patch.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aid, but I'm assuming you may be looking to like a direct access button. You can just transpose like a semitone down each press or anything like that. So,
or do that from the controller you're playing it with.
Yeah, I suppose you could do that. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be easier.
Tommy Tones has spotted in that list one of the upcoming features is voice chaining. Can you explain what voice chaining is?
Yeah. So that's basically the idea that because the filter can do a lot. Also, like there's the filter engines thing coming right now. The filter is multi-mode, so morphable from low pass, band pass to high pass. And then there's the character thing that finds response. But so basically, the filter can do a lot more than that, and that'll be exposed in engines once we get that far. But that also means that it starts making sense to use one voice to produce the initial sound, and then you bring that into the filter of the next voice. Right. So let's say you have, say, a standard synth patch playing on one voice, and then you chain that voice into the filter input of the next voice, which, let's say you have an EQ there, or maybe you have a flat filter, but you're driving it super hard, so it distorts heavily. So then you can, for an example, have the sound of a synthesizer going into an external distortion, like as if, but the distortion is actually the filter of the voice, and so on. So that's the basic idea. At some very distant future, if we have the time and can figure out how to make the UI work, we might even have kind of 8-pole filter modes where you're controlling what looks like to be a single filter set of filter controls, but it's actually an 8-pole filter, which could be like, you know, a 4-peak 4-man filter or something, which is then behind the scenes, of course, built by actually using 2 voices. So you send the filter output from one voice to the second to do the rest of the filtering. So that's the basic idea. You use that way you can use 2 filters on a single signal.
Nice. That's I mean, honestly, looking through the prospective features that you're going to add to this, it's just the investment that somebody makes is just going to keep paying back because you just add all this stuff in. And of course, all this stuff is free firmware updates, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Excellent stuff. I guess we need to tell people what this thing costs. It has an MSRP of €1,259, which I think for what you're getting in the box is incredibly good value for money. Yeah. I'm sure that if you shop around, you might be able to get it at slightly different prices, but that's the MSRP right there. And it's available from you've got a list of retailers, I think, on your site. But I mean, what a fantastic thing this is. So thank you for that. So far, what we're going to do now is we're just going to go and do our little Synthspirations piece. So as everybody should know, if you don't already, and we'll tell you all about how to send in your Synthspirations if you haven't done so yet, is the whole concept of Synthspirations was, I'll be honest, it was a bit of a filler to start with. I thought nobody's going to send these in. We might get 1 or 2. It'll pass the time, and then we'll think of something else. We've had over 20 now sent in from our viewers, and we get some brilliant concepts and brilliant lists. I've learnt stuff and listened to stuff that I had previously not done because of what people have said has inspired them. The whole concept is we'd like you, the viewer, to just tell us what inspired you to get into all of this that we do with making music with synthesizers and technology. I've done one, Andrew's done one, we're still waiting for Kent's. But we've had loads, and they've all been wildly different, not in terms of the styles of music that people have been inspired to make music with synths, but also the style of the content that we've been supplied, and it's all of them have been brilliant, but some of them have just like gone off on really interesting avenues, and this week's one is another one of those. So Lindsay, who lives not too far away from me, he contacted me recently and said, I've got a Synthspirations, but it's slightly different. I don't appear on camera. I'm not playing any music, but I'm listing my Synthspirations. So I thought, that's cool, fine. He then said, I've also done some audio mixes. So I've taken all of my Synthspirations and created, I think it's around 5 hours of a mix covering 1952 to 2025. That's wow. the span. And he's dedicated this all to his late cat, Jeffrey. Now, I think we can all have a moment where we can appreciate, because I think it's kind of I think isn't it in the law that if you like synthesizers, you like cats? I think it's it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think we can all sympathise, and we're sorry that Jeffrey's no longer around, but I'm sure that he brought you many happy moments. And of course, there is a piece in the video you're about to see where you'll get a little choked. This is different, okay? That's all I'm going to say. It's different. But Lindsay, thank you so much for your emails over the last few days. He sent in one video. He said, "No, I'm going to tweak it a little bit, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit more." But we've got it. Hopefully, this is the definitive version. I will post a link to the YouTube page where you can go and watch these videos. He's put them onto his YouTube page, and in the description under the video, you will be able to find the links to download the epic mix that has been created. So without further ado, this is Lindsay's Synthspirations video, The Ghost of Jeffrey the Cat. There you go. That was Lindsay's Synthspirations in honor of Jeffrey Catt. Our condolences, but I think that was unique and original, and that's what I love about some of these things. It's different. I know that we obviously can't play original music, so yeah, Crickets I thought was a masterstroke. Let's just open this up. First of all, what I'll do is I'm about to post a link in the chat now. That will take you to the Ghost of Jeffrey Catt's YouTube page, which is right here. And you'll see 3 videos there. So you'll see the video you've just seen and the introductory video here. This one here is the one you need to go and check out, because if you check that video out, and we'll just stop it there, and you go down to the description, you'll find the links to the mixes and expansion packs. It's all in the notes. So go and download all of this stuff, and you can hear everything that was being listed there. So please do go and check those out. And what we'll also do is we'll put those videos up onto the Patreon page and YouTube channel members page, so you can watch those in isolation. And I know some people say that their cats were reacting to the Crickets there, which I thought was rather appropriate, given the stuff there. Did anybody see anything in that list there that they go, oh, not heard of them, or yes, I agree with that? Anything?
Yeah, it was a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few in there I should be going to, and I've started listening to the mixes, so I shall be delving in. Timo, Jussi, who are your? I mean, just you have to give us like 3 or 4 minutes of this stuff, but just give us 1 or 2. I mean, was there any particular artist or any particular album or song that said yes, synthesizers? That's what I want to play with.
I can tell the standard story that I tell everybody, but that's actually true. Is that when I was really small, like I think like just entering elementary school, I really liked Europe's Final Countdown, and I really liked the lead riff, and that's why I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And then my brother told me, no, it's not a guitar, it's a synthesizer. So that's kind of what got me started.
Excellent. No, that's cool. What about you, Jussi?
Yeah, I'm on the completely opposite side. I was originally mainly into ambient. Like my first electronic CD I bought was Life Forms by Future Sound of London, which you probably know.
Yeah.
Classic. And then I think these days the most inspiring synth sound for me, like pure, like distorted garbage. Like I love Empty Set, for example. Their stuff is amazing. Stuff like that. Like I'm probably to blame why the distortion goes so high. But I push it.
Excellent. No, I'm with you on Future Sound of London. I had no idea who they were, and then my ex-sister-in-law, so this was back in the 90s, my ex-sister-in-law knew that I was kind of into synthesizers, and she'd heard this and thought this would be right up my street. And I think, if I remember correctly, Radio 1, the big kind of pop music station here in the UK, one evening played Lifeforms in its entirety from beginning to end without interruptions. And she said, just listen to it. It's not going to cost you anything. Because this, of course, was before streaming, before anything like that. So this was a golden opportunity. So she said, put the headphones on, sit back and relax and enjoy it. And it was just like, this was amazing. And then, of course, got into a lot more of their stuff. So I'm definitely with you on that. And great shout with Europe and Final Countdown. I mean, it's a classic, just a bona fide classic synth riff, isn't it? It's just everybody loves it, and some people might find it that sort of stuff cheesy. It's not. It's great. It's great music. Really good stuff. I guess that's why you bought the OBX, isn't it?
Yeah. Although actually the
wasn't
lead riff is actually, that's why I bought the JX10.
It's the JX.
The lead riff is mostly a JX8P with some FM brasses layered underneath. But you can kind of recognize the JX8P there. The OBX8 I got because of Jump. So
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
you might notice the Redshift, there's the a preset for Tom and Eddie, which you can figure out what sound that is. And that's actually like, I had the OBXA and I had the Redshift and, kind of
brilliant.
trying. And I get as good, and I'm relatively happy with what the Redshifts can do against the XA.
Nice. Excellent stuff. Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you to Lindsay and Jeffrey the cat. Please go and check out the link that I've posted in there. We'll share that link, I think, also on the Facebook group. So if you want to go and check that out, I'll just put it one more time in the chat if anybody wants it there. And if you haven't already, and you've been sitting on it and thinking, yeah, I could do a Synthspirations, all we want is, at the very minimum, just you telling us whether it's spoken word, or as some people have done, like that with no, just putting stuff up on screen with a little bit of background music. That's fine, as long as the music isn't going to get us any copyright strikes. That's good. That's all we need to worry about. And we do test these before we put them out, just in case something is there that does that. And just put together your thoughts. It doesn't have to, it can be a minute long, it can be 5 minutes long. In my case, mine went on for blooming ages because we had lots of time to kill. So tell us what you like, what inspired you. Here's the little trailer that will tell you exactly what to do with the video once you've made it. We want to know what music inspired you to make music with synthesizers. Be it an album, single, or an entire artist's body of work, we want you to tell us why it inspired you, and given that we're a synth show, which instruments used on that album really made an impact. All you need to do is film yourself talking about your synthspiration for a few minutes, and we'll feature it on the show and discuss it. Send your video clips along with your name or handle to prosynthnetwork@gmail.com using a file sharing service like WeTransfer, and you could feature on a ProSynth Network live show soon. It's true. That's all you need to do is create that video and then just send that file to us, as I said, using a file transfer service, because sometimes these files are rather large, and then we'll pick it up, and if we need to do any sort of like tidying up of it, we can do that here. So don't worry, you don't have to be a video professional. We can tidy things up for you, and we'll put it out as one of ours.
And can I just say, Jeffrey, I haven't said anything so far, but I think that was an astonishingly eclectic mix of artists you mentioned already. I'm really looking forward to going through your mixtape, a bit like the mixtapes we used to make on cassette back in the day. And I think what's really interesting for some people, I think there's a certain amount of snobbishness associated with who your synth heroes are and what actually influenced you. But what was once cheesy becomes really gold again at some point. So whatever your particular influences are, I loved seeing ABBA on that, by the way. So whatever they are, I think these things are really important to get out there, and we love hearing from you. So Jeffrey, sorry about your cat, but really applaud what you've done.
Jeffrey was the cat.
Jeffrey, sorry, Jeffrey, sorry.
Well, we're sorry for Jeffrey as well. But
sorry, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeffrey.
No, honestly, if you don't cite ABBA as a synth band, then you've missed the point. I mean, Benny was all over synthesizers, Odysseys, GX1s, Synclaviers. I mean, man, that guy had
Minimo.
Probably still has a collection of immense stuff. I mean, exactly. As Steve says in the chat, who wasn't inspired by ABBA? What a great band. Love them.
Although it wasn't cool necessarily to say so at the time.
At the time.
But it kind of doesn't matter. We're all old enough not to be too, not to get embarrassed about the stuff. They're good songs.
Yeah, I still got my 7-inch copy of Mamma Mia that I only ever played in my room on my own. I didn't sort of want to go, oh yeah. But honestly, now I listen to the albums, particularly the last album, which is slightly darker, obviously reflecting the tensions within the band. Yeah, great stuff. And the synth work is stunning. If you ever get the chance to go and see ABBA Voyage here in London, do so. It's just spectacular, and the synths really cut through. It's really good stuff. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just play a little bit more of the Redshift 6 because that's kind of what we're focusing on here.
Yeah.
There was a great video that was made. I wasn't actually around at the time when this was made, but this was actually made at Superbooth in May. It was a lovely few days in Fez in Berlin, and I thought this was a rather wonderful video. Maybe we'll not play the whole thing. You can go and watch it on the Supercritical YouTube channel, but this is Redshift 6 being played live by one of the Supercritical gang in the Bungalowdorf at Superbooth 2025. Now, you can watch the whole video over on the Supercritical website, but I just think that it's such a lovely thing because it captures the whole vibe of Superbooth, and bloody hell, that sounds great. That really does. It's just an amazing instrument. Somebody, where is it? Here we go. Why is Jesse Plemons playing it? If you don't know who the actor Jesse Plemons, it's spitting image of doppelganger. So I hope that wasn't insulting to the.
I thought it looked more like Ty.
Yeah, it did look a bit like Ty, but with hair.
With hair, yeah.
Yeah. Nick Howes wants to know, will the next synth be called Blueshift, and who is the astronomy nerd in the company?
Yeah, well, okay. First of all, I'd like to point out that notice the color of the shift button on the Redshift before. Think about
okay.
That. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me just bring this up onto to screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's blue.
Shift right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So that's the Blueshift. So we realized this ourselves quite late in the game, and then we just decided that that's how it's gonna be. Yeah, and the astronomy nerd, in some sense, I suppose it would be me because I have a PhD in physics. But on the other hand, it's Eiki who did a lot of the branding and was with us for a long time. He's one of the founders, but now he went to do other things. And Heikki came up with the name. So
right.
He's not a scientist, but he's also a big science nerd. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wonder which of us is the official.
It had to be, though, didn't it? It had to be. So, a couple of donations that I need to, before we move on to a news
wow.
topic. Yeah, so first of all, I need to say thank you to Tripwell199. Can we get a Redshift mono synth? Maybe that's something a little bit in the future, you know. We got, yeah, you never know. And we just had a synthspirations from Lindsay, and
Lindsay,
they've just dropped
wow.
£50 into our coffers. Lindsay, thank you so much. That is a stupidly large and generous donation. We are very, very grateful. Thank you ever so much for airing my 2 promos. So kind of you. Love you all so very much. Thank you once again, Lindsay and the ghost of Jeffrey Cat. No, thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Jeffrey. I'm sure you know, you had many, many happy times together, and I hope that this has brought some solace. But yes, thank you for your inspirations, and thank you ever so much for your donation. You didn't have to, but we are so happy that you did. So thank you very much indeed. That's great. Okay, so we mentioned the video there that was filmed at Superbooth this year in May. Superbooth is back next year, and just yesterday they announced the dates for Superbooth 26. So start booking your hotels and your flights and any other transportation and accommodation requirements that you might have, because it's going to take place on the 7th, 8th and 9th of May 2026 at the usual place in Fez, Berlin. That wonderful city, that wonderful venue. They've not released any other details about what's coming up, but they have said in their press release that they are looking at changing a few things and adapting, which is they always do. There's always something new and different to go on at Superbooth. We will be there. I've already started booking flights and accommodation to make sure that I get that in before the tax man takes all the money. But yeah, we're going to do that. And I just want to say, actually, I pay for me to go to Superbooth and stay at Superbooth. That does not come out of the ProSynth Network funds. I just want to make that absolutely clear. The funds for ProSynth Network keeps the channel going. My journalistic work and everything else pays for these sorts of things. So I will be there. Do make sure that you come and find me and anybody else that might be there from the ProSynth Network crew. But back to this, if you want to make sure you want to stay up to date with Superbooth 26 news, just go to their webpage, which is superbooth.com, and sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be kept informed of everything as and when it happens. So you can watch videos there of Superbooth 25 and look at film and photo footage and everything. Guys, are you planning to be there in 2026? Will you be bringing Redshift 6 and maybe anything new that you can...
We'll absolutely be there. Superbooth is kind of becoming our, like, we're a completely remote company. None of us are in the same office, so we're very modern that way. That gets also a bit lonely sometimes. So, you know, obviously we meet up sometimes, but Superbooth is kind of our company spring getaway that we all get to work together for a few days and some nice time in Berlin. And that's, you know, that's kind of one of the highlights of the year. So absolutely we'll be there.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's such a great event, and I love going, and the main reason I love going is the people, is meeting up with all the people that we see online in our audience, and then secondary to that is the gear, of course. We love the gear.
Yeah. And the simple fact that you can talk about synths and people don't think you're crazy.
Yeah. And nobody judges you. That's it. Nobody judges you. So
and remember, Robbie, don't leave it on the train.
No, okay, yes. So there is somebody, okay, in Berlin, right? So I had these made up with ProSynth Network and Superbooth 25. There are only 2 in the world. Yeah. I had one, should I say, and Peter James Stephen, who helps us organise our live events, he had the other one. On day 1 of Superbooth, I got on the S-Bahn and I exited at Woolheider, and got halfway round to the event and goes, oh, where's my drinks bottle? And somebody left it on the S-Bahn. So I had another one made up. So there are 3 in the world I've got one, Peter's got one, and someone somewhere in Berlin has got one. And if you're watching, it may be, I don't know, if you pick this up off the S-Bahn on, I can't remember the date, it was an early Wednesday in May, and you're watching the show because you got this, but you don't want to say that you've got my, please do tell us, because I'd love to talk to you. But there you go. So yeah, merchandise. There we go. It's another plug for the merch. You can buy these. You can buy these right now. Kent's got one. They are brilliant. 32-ounce water bottles. We need to do this as well. We need to sample that and make a pack out of it.
I've got far too much vodka in mine at the moment to do that.
Yeah, they're brilliant. I take one of these to bed at night, not obviously to bed, but by the side of my bed, and I fill it with some ice and some water, and it's still icy cold in the morning. They're brilliant. Highly recommended. 32 ounces. Yours will only have Pro Synth Network on it. Won't have the Super Booth logo because we can't sell that because it's somebody else's logo. So yeah, you can go and grab yourself one of those. But yeah, Super Booth 26. Thoughts, gentlemen? Andrew, Kent. I mean, Kent, it's silly me asking you if you're going to be going, but
yeah, that is a pretty stupid question, isn't it? I was sitting here actually thinking this Redshift. I think we've got a challenger for this girl.
What, for the CS80?
Yeah, I reckon
Explain.
I would like to try and put Redshift up against the 80 because I think they're going to complement each other. But apart from that, this one goes back to Ireland in beginning of September. I know he's bringing another one over for me to do, but that would mean having to carry up the stairs.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. You see, the Redshift, from what I'm hearing, it has the testicles to go up against this. I think I'd like to get one.
You're right. I think there's definitely a heft to the sound of the
exactly.
Redshift.
So
there's a real bottom end there, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean these girls are, but they don't ever get quite into this territory of this girl. But although they do carry their own weights, but I think Redshift might actually do. Because you need a powerful synth to complement another powerful synth if you're playing them together. I think, that's what I've been thinking for the last hour or so. Just kind of.
There's a video special right there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There is.
Do that, yeah.
I'm a bit for our Redshift if it can stand up to the CS80, but I'd love to hear how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
sorry,
send one over to Ken. I mean, the other thing is, lots of people have been commenting about the sonic character of the Redshift, and there's people saying it lies, it's kind of like a halfway house between sequential and Roland. People are comparing it to the JX8P 3P, only fatter. I think right at the when I first heard this, one of the things, and I was really glad to hear you give your synth history, Timo, because there is something about it that reminds me enormously of the Oberheim as well. There's something about texturally and sonically that really reminds me of that really fat analog sound. I just loved it. Was that deliberate? So the sound design, the choice of how the thing sounds, how much of that was aiming at particular synths?
Well, first of all, you'll notice that there's the character control there. So that actually changes a lot of things about the signal path. So it changes gains going into the filter, gains coming out of the filter into the VCA. And it also changes the precise response shape of the filter itself. So the filter is also very special in the sense that it can do, in a technical sense, all the possible responses that a 4-pole filter can do. Right now, we're just using it for multi-mode thing and to finesse the shape. So there's like a liquid character, which is kind of made to sound like Rolandish. There's the crisp character, which is made to sound like Oberheim 2-pole filter-ish.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's certainly on purpose. It's like there's a technical sense in which it is close, and then we've fine-tuned it by ear to be closer. And then there's the ladder, which obviously,
the mode.
obvious, yeah. And basically there's two others. Like there's mean, which is that's if you want to compare it to something, it's MS-20ish, but honestly, it's also quite a lot of just like let's make this filter behave badly, and then there's the sour, which you can also guess the inspiration, a certain role.
303, that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's not. There is design into it. So obviously, when we're making these characters, and it's not just the filter response, it's not just the gain. It's also affecting like the amount of tuning slop between the oscillators, and the static detuning between the oscillators, slop between the envelopes in various voices and stuff. So there is like a very purposeful effort to make this sound more like the vintage synths, but in a controllable way, in such a way that you can change which vintage character you're pushing into. So yes, there were some several evenings like back when we were doing the neutron flux, when we were finessing these filter responses. At that time, just the response shape. So kind of like looking at technical stuff like what's the filter detailed shape in a Roland filter, what's the detailed shape of the Minimoog filter, and so on, and looking at some like people who are synth nerds know Tim Stilson and his analysis of a lot of filters. We looked at those for the 303 and the MS-20 and so on, and kind of finessing that technically closer. Then we drank some beer and fine-tuned it to like by ear. It's not the same circuit, so it won't sound the exact same.
I'll be round next week. Let me come over. Drink beer and make sounds.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
So
cool
then
stuff.
fine-tuned by ear, and then later when we got into the Redshift kind of similar process, maybe with a bit less beer, for fine-tuning the amount of detune and the gain staging. Yes, that was actually something that kind of took some time to find a good balance, because I think like a big part of why vintage synths sound good is that they have enough drive. Back then you really had to work on your compromise between low noise and keeping the signal path clean, and people usually pick low noise, which would mean there's a lot of gain. It's surprisingly distorted, but you can't just go all the way there. It's too easy to go all the way there, and then it just sounds dirty. So that's, for example, one of the things where we did spend some time like finding balance, and kind of various balances. Some of the like for an example, the liquid model has little drive overall. I think if I remember correctly, the Oberheim, like the crisp character, has quite a lot of pre-filter drive, but it has very little VCA drive. The Moog character is the opposite, and so on. Yeah. So it's not a coincidence if we're hitting close to some vintage synths and so on. They're not modeling synth by any means. It's an analog circuit. It's not the same circuit, so we can't make it identical, but we've certainly tried to hit some sweet spots.
You've gone after the character of the analog vintage analog synths, and I think from what I'm hearing, it's been really successful.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Just want to bring in. So honestly, Lindsay, please stop. Okay, it's another donation.
Yeah, enough, matey.
But thank you so much. Really, really do appreciate it. And once again, Nick Howes has gifted a membership to the YouTube channel to someone. So thank you again for that, Nick. That's
thank
really
you very
cool.
much.
We had a question from Aid. AD Vision is also, he did a great synthspiration for us, and he wanted to know how you got a gig at Superbooth. I honestly don't know how you get, because obviously around the whole Superbooth event over 3 days there are people performing, there are various stages around there. I honestly don't know. I guess you just get in touch with the people at Superbooth via the website, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. I'll ask around, but I honestly don't know. But it would be great to see you there and other people. So hopefully that's kind of semi-answered your question. Steve Sonus Lucius, or Lucas, I don't know how you pronounce that properly. he wants to know. He wants to be uber nerdy and ask if you know what software was used to design the Redshift's case and controls. Obviously, Axel did that design, but do you know what was used to design that?
I have no idea. Like we only used 3D viewer software to view the files that he sent us. So
Right.
no idea what he's using to design.
Yeah. That'll be a question for Axel. I mean, we need to get Axel back on the show at some point. It's been probably a couple of years since he was last on. So we need to get him on. We can ask him then. But actually, Axel has his own website, which I believe is just axelhartman.com. So you never know. There might be some information in there. So hopefully that's helped you out there. But again, thank you, Lindsay, for your more than generous donations. Next bit of news. Now, I got very, very excited when Yamaha announced this instrument. I rushed out and didn't buy one, but Kent and Andrew did. Much to their delight. It's a rather large thing that they both have. There you go. There's one there, and there's one just over to Kent's right shoulder there. It's the Yamaha Montage M8X. It's a stunning instrument. And you might remember, and this is another kind of Super Booth related thing, that at Super Booth this year, Yamaha had on display, I don't know if you guys got to see it, Yamaha had these two massive hardware external controllers for the Montage, where they'd literally broken out almost all of the controls into this physical wooden and metal hardware interface, one for the FM engine and one for the AN engine. It was stunning, but of course one-off, very expensive and not easy to
and
to
huge,
assemble.
absolutely huge.
You couldn't move them around easily, and you'd
That
take
sounds
a lot
familiar.
of space. It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was inspired by that, and they have developed a software-based version of well, I wouldn't say a version of it, but they were inspired by that, breaking out the interface or the controls of the Montage, the Modi X, and built a piece of software which is called KDX, and it basically breaks out and exposes every part and every element of the sound engine within the Montage M, the Modi X, and the Modi X Plus. Also supports Yamaha Seek Track and the Reface CS, which is a bigger bonus. KDX will adapt its interface to suit the current synthesis engine. So you got support for AWM2, including the extended elements in Montage M, AWM2 drum, FMX, ANX, DX in the Seek Track, and the Reface CS. It's basically a programmer developed as a highly specialized web app. It's not an instrument, so don't get confused. This isn't a replacement for the Montage plugin, which obviously can generate sounds. This is a specific application to dig into the programming of all of these features within these very, very powerful synthesizers. Now, here comes the downside. It's subscription. So it's a monthly subscription of $4.99 US, or an annual subscription of $49.99. So you basically pay for 10 months, you get 2 free. But that's, I mean, this is, I wish I could try this out, and maybe one of you guys, if you wanted maybe just to try a month, could give us a lowdown on it. But as Montage owners and users, what do you think to this? I mean, you've both got the ESP plugin, I guess, which came with the Montage.
Mine
Is
crashes.
this something else you need? Or
Well,
what do you think?
if I did, I wouldn't get it because it's subscription.
Right.
That just shot it in the head for me. Sorry.
But
I have
if it
enough
wasn't
trouble trying to
subscription-
remember what I have to do from day to day without having that. No, I don't like subscription models. I really
Yeah.
don't. No.
It wasn't. It
Shame.
did seem an odd choice.
I'd rather
something like
pay.
this.
I'd rather pay a one-off price. I don't care if it's like overpriced. Just a one-off price and go. There you go. Right,
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I
do you
probably
think, Andrew?
wouldn't use it every day. You see.
Yeah, true. Andrew, you've dug into the Montage M's engines. from the interface there. What do you think to this?
Yeah, I've got the ESP, and the ESP is theoretically a complete recreation of this beastie, as a plugin, and it's not complete. It doesn't do everything this does. And what's interesting about the KDX is, the software he's written, it's a control surface, but it's a very clever and well thought out control surface that exposes everything in the engine, including a range of features that you can't get to without a lot of faffing around, and sometimes not at all directly within the engine here. So I was looking at it, and the way it's laid out, it's very good, and I'm kind of looking at it going, well, that would be really good, but it leaves me with two issues. One is I'll either have to be squidging lots of buttons to get there anyway, doing a lot of mouse clicking or mapping a whole bunch of different controllers to do it, so different control surfaces mapped to make it work as well as I can. And that's, if I'm doing that, I can do it directly with this or with the ESP, even though it does more than both of them. The other problem, as Kent says, is the whole idea of subscription. That makes it a no-no for me. It's a great looking thing. If this had a price on it, I don't know what it would be worth. If it's, I don't know, 49 quid for a year, then maybe 100 quid, something like that, 80 or 100 quid for to buy it as a standalone thing, which I could then use. I'd then probably buy it. As it stands, I mean, it does some extraordinary things. It's gone further and better, and is better organised than the Yamaha plugin, than the ESP, which is still, even with the latest iteration, hugely resource hungry, CPU hungry.
Yeah.
But and I do you know what? I almost never use the ESP, even though it's there and I can if I want to. I do everything on the beastie. So it's an interesting one. If it weren't for the subscription thing, I'd probably jump in and be all over it. I will, however, Robbie, because you've now asked nicely, I will see if I can do a month, if I can actually do it for a month and then cancel. Well,
before you do that, can I just point out that this is a web browser based editor? It's not even an application. It's all done through your browser. So I don't know whether that
kills it again.
Yeah.
I really don't like web browser interfaces. I know, I understand that, we've created a few ourselves for different things, for video applications, Unreal and God knows what else. And in fact, we've even built some synths in Unreal using the Blueprint thing. But web browser based stuff, it can chew up memory. You end up with memory leaks and all sorts of things. It can be, I agree. In this case, Nick, we're in agreement. No. But it's a good looking thing. I wish it came out.
The thing is, if it is, well, it is. I want to say if it is a browser-based editor that relies on you having an internet connection. What happens if you're in the middle of a session or whatever, and you're using this, and your internet connection dies?
It doesn't stop you. The thing is, it's a controller. It's nothing else. It's a really good control surface which exposes parts of the engine that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. But if it disappears, if it breaks down and doesn't work, you still have, you're still either going to be using ESP or the keyboard. So it doesn't stop you working. What it does is it opens up, particularly for sound design, some possibilities that otherwise wouldn't be there. I think that's what it's for.
Yeah. I think the subscription model is a real turn off. I think the browser-based thing is equally a turn off, because I know, like you said, you're not reliant on this, because if you can't do it, but then what's the point of subscribing to it, and then your internet goes down, or you're in a studio where maybe you just don't have the access, and you've been doing something, you've kind of got really into it, and then all of a sudden you don't have a connection. I don't know.
This is nice graphically, and from a user UI point of view, from a GUI point of view, it's fantastic. Lovely. They've done a really good job. That's the big wonderful thing about it. But it's not an engine in and of itself. It's just a controller, and it's web based, and it's subscription. Those two things just
not seeing a lot of love in the chat for this either.
I think our two guests are there going, thank God they loved our bloody synth. Can you imagine?
Well, I was going to be super critical about it.
Oh,
right.
But,
Spot on, right?
Oh, he had to go there, didn't he?
I'm just going to ask, guys, I mean, obviously this is, I don't know if you have a vested interest in Yamaha montage and whether this was of any interest to you, but on that fact of being a subscription-based thing, this is a point that comes up over and over again on our show with certain products being subscription-based. You guys are synth designers, but you're also business people. What are your thoughts on the subscription model? Do you think that it's a good thing, a bad thing? Do you think it has its place and that certain things benefit from it that others don't? I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I kind of, or was you about to say something? Right. Okay.
Well, go ahead.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
I think the only people I've heard that it's good for is the like business people, because it's like a steady income instead of having to wait for people to buy your stuff or not. But I don't know any users that like it's basically for having a steady income. That's it.
Yeah.
There's
Or
basically
making people forget to cancel.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's what usually happens. I have a bunch of subscriptions I forgot to cancel, even though. But yeah, so there's kind of I see one argument for it, which is that like with the traditional, like if you go back to the 90s when you actually bought software from the shelves, like there was this thing that there was a pressure to always produce a new version, because once you've sold the software, people use it for however long, and you don't get any more money. So basically that would be problematic for any kind of company that has basically one product. They need to make updates, whether or not that's actually making it a better product, but just to get people to push to buy the new one. In principle, subscription model solves that. But of course, there's other stuff like I think there's a bit of a one reason why I really personally actually don't use subscriptions much. I said I have some that I've forgotten to cancel. Most of those are streaming services anyway. But the one big thing is that if I'm using it to edit anything, like okay, let's say for one example where I have done a decision for our company, very much based on that, is that let's say we had a circuit board editor which we used to make design the circuit boards for our synths, and that's subscription based. So let's say it might be even like reasonably priced and everything, and maybe it's a good product. But the problem is that if I stop paying for the subscription, or if the subscription is managed with some copyright protection system that requires internet access, if I lose that, now I have these files that might be worth basically the whole company, like access to the most critical technological data. And if I give up the subscription, I don't access my own data anymore. So that's kind of like, that's a no-go. You can't go there into that trap. It's not that you subscribe for a certain amount of time, it's that you subscribe permanently if you can't get your data out of it. So I think that's one of the big things here. For the montage editor, in principle, you can have your data in Synth and still edit it, but so that maybe slightly less. But but that's one of the main reasons I really don't like subscription.
Yeah.
There is another argument for it, and that kind of came out of really expensive software packages, which were in areas like photography, video, design, where those were growing every year, and the technology was moving on, the processing power, which meant, and all the the CPUs, the amount of RAM, all of that stuff started speeding up, which gave the opportunities to improve the code, to make more things available. And we've seen that happening, and those things went from pay once a year, and for each of the applications it was possibly £1,500 to £2,000 each year, just to keep you buy it, but then you'd have to upgrade if you wanted to stay current. Now, moving that to the subscription model was kind of a good idea at the time, for a lot of these companies, because it enabled them to employ large engineering staff teams to keep developing. But then there comes a point where everyone starts questioning, and this is kind of where we're at the moment, is how much of this engineering effort is required in, permanently, that we're paying for, and how much of that is just propagating we're going to release something new in 6 months and then another release in another 6 months. And if it's entirely subscription based, the moment you stop, you have lost access to all of those historical projects and content. You can go to other software manufacturers or software developers to do that, but it starts becoming a real pain, and I know there's a lot of kickback against it. In this particular instance, I don't have a problem with subscriptions, and especially the rent to buy subscription model. I don't particularly have a problem with them, but this particular one, I can't see what benefit it's bringing to me at all. I can't see a single benefit it's bringing to me.
Yeah.
I think there are good versions,
one.
like if you pay for a year of upgrades, for example, or like rent to own, like I think those are like good versions of subscriptions. Like there you are actually paying for something you get.
Yeah, and Roland do that. Every year, if you subscribe to that, you get a couple of licenses to keep forever. And so if you've been there for some while, you could end up owning pretty much everything.
Do you get to choose which ones?
Yes.
Because I don't have Roland Cloud because of this. But there again, there'll be instruments within Roland Cloud that I probably won't use, but I'm paying for them. And and there'll be instruments that I will use intensely 1 month and then not bother using for the rest of the year because I've done that now. Move on.
Yeah.
Go.
And I think it depends what business you're in as well. As a business, some of these licenses that are subscription based are a cost of business that are easily absorbed, and actually they form the basis for a business. That's tools and tool sets.
That would make sense. Yeah.
This doesn't appear to be that, and I'm more and more despairing of the music side of it, where that is the case, where subscriptions have become more and more predominant. I'm not sure I see a business case for it.
Not using Roland Cloud specifically as an example, but using it as an example. It's, right. Say after 5 or 6 years you've been subscribed to Roland Cloud, and there may be a couple of instruments on there you've never used, and yet they cost you a couple of £100 now.
Yeah, but if you think how much does a plugin normally cost, an instrument plugin of a decent quality one, you could be looking at 100. You look at Arturia. 100, 150 euro or pounds for one of their plug-in instruments if you want to buy it outright. Yeah. So the Roland Cloud is 189 UK, I think. So effectively, what you're doing is you're buying one plug-in every year, but you're able to keep a couple of them.
This continues on and on and on and on. And if you want cancel your subscription, what happens to them?
Well, if you've got the lifetime stuff, you keep them.
And the rest that you haven't,
and the rest is gone.
It's only presets you've made out the window.
Yeah,
so it's ball and chain.
In the same way that a synth you may own suddenly goes wrong, you can't get the parts for it. It's died. You've lost those. Same thing, Ken. You just you adapt and you have to then use something else. But I get the arguments for and against. I'm just a bit concerned. That,
actually, I specialise in finding the parts and getting them going again.
Well, yeah, that's what you do.
That's my job.
That's what you do.
Okay, so I think the general consensus is, nice, but wrong business model. But we'll see.
I think it's too niche to be subscription.
If you do get a copy of it for a month, let us know what you think. It would be interesting to see if you.
I will do that
as well. Yeah,
I'm going to try and get hold of a copy of a Supercritical Redshift as well. I really need to get one. I want to start doing some sound design on that, so we'll have to have a chat.
Let's have a listen. Let's have a final listen. I'm going to play this because the newest feature was multitimbrality, and I want to play you the multitimbral demo. So we're getting to the end of the show. Let me just play this little video for you and have a listen to the brand new feature.
That bass.
All that's left for me to say is, guys, you have created something that is truly special. I think somebody said in the chat earlier, future classic, and I cannot disagree with that. I think this will go down as one of those classic synthesizers. I think you get so much bang for your buck. So congratulations on this.
Yeah, when the Hydra synth came out, there was that kind of noise around it, and it did really well. Yeah. This is that kind of a synth. It's that iconic. Yeah, I agree.
Some of the comments that are coming in here, just wow. The bass is fantastic. Great demo.
It's getting MPE as well. For Jesus Christ.
I know. Yeah. So many great comments.
I can see myself. I mean, Siri will be pissed off, but I can see myself sitting up in bed with that there, and one of the controllers, key step, and stuff like that, playing away to my heart's content when I can't sleep.
There you go, Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Comment on the screen.
Yeah.
Kent has a Mustang, by the way.
Which
is rapidly going up for sale, I think, as we speak.
Well, yeah. I mean, I might put that Rev 2 up as well, that Profit 502. Well, we were saying on the pub.
I wonder, has Ty got one yet? That'd be interesting.
Oh, I imagine yes.
Our friend Ty Unwin, big composer, I'm sure he's probably got one of these.
Yes, he's got one already.
I'm sure. Well, it'd be interesting to know what he thinks.
Well, no, in 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. That was just, I mean, guys, you and the team, our congratulations to you all. You've created something that's really special.
Yeah.
We're big fans of it. So, listen, thank you both for coming onto the show. Thank you, Jussi, for dealing with all of my emails, and thank you for setting this up. Thank you, Timo, for coming on. And I look forward to seeing both of you in Berlin in May, if we don't see each other before. Are you coming over to the UK for any shows like Bristronica or anything like that?
Yeah, coming to Bristol.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see you at Bristronica. We have a stand. Yeah. Brilliant. We have a stand at Bristronica, so we'll come and see you. You come and see us. That'd be great to catch up with us. It's only in about 6 weeks, 7 weeks time, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. Brilliant stuff. Listen, guys, thank you again. Thank you so much for coming on. We really, really do appreciate you taking the time to tell us all about the Supercritical Redshift 6. If you want to buy one or want to know more about it, the link is going up in the chat as we speak, but also it is in the description below in the video, so you can go and check that out, listen to all the wonderful demos, watch all the videos. There's not only the videos that these guys have created, but there's also Starsky's done some great videos. I really wanted to play the Madonna one, because it sounds great, but I know it's that close that we would be getting slapped to the middle of next week with copyright strikes and so on and so forth. Kevu's done one. I mean, Kevu's a local guy for you, isn't he? So yeah. So there's some really good demos on there. Please do go and check all of those out. And we should be supporting new and exciting developers such as yourself. And congratulations once again. Please pass on
so much
our best wishes to the entire team. No, you're welcome. I
really enjoyed that.
So yeah, absolutely. We were going to talk very quickly about a new sample library. We'll leave that till next week. It's not that fantastic. We've managed to fill 2 hours again with some great conversations. So thank you to everyone that's watched. Thank you to all those people who sent in lovely donations, particularly you, Lindsay. Now stop, don't send any more. But thank you so much for joining us this week. I will be back same time, same place next week. I don't think we've got any guests lined up yet, although I've had a few people contact me asking when they can come back on the show. So we'll see if we can organise something. But if not, it'll just be the three of us. Maybe we'll bring in one of our round table editions. It could be Jervis. It could be Scotty. If Mike is back, because Mike, Dr. Mike Metley, is currently in Finland. Gigging around doing stuff over there, so we might get him on. But don't forget
I did ask Hans again, but I haven't heard back.
No, you never will, I don't think.
No,
how many years have we been asking Hans to come on the show?
Mate, I know.
Never mind. Don't forget to give us a
giving
like
on
and
now.
a subscribe. That would be fantastic if you do. Give us a thumbs up. It's super nice if you do, and it helps the algorithm. It massages it and sticks us into more people's feeds. So that's really good. But we will be back same time, same place next week. Thanks to Timo, to UC from Supercritical. Thank you to Andrew. Thank you to Kent. Thank you to all of you for watching. You are deeply appreciated. We'll be back soon. Take care. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.